Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the game reveal for the Super 16 race number 5. Is we up to 5 already? Oh, we don't need that. Yep, up to Super 16 number 5 already. And for those who haven't seen a Super 16 before, what we're doing here is taking 16 games from the Super Nintendo, and players are going to race them back to back. We're going to do short goals of each game because we don't want it to take forever. We tried to put this list together such that the top finishers should be finishing in about 3 hours time. But typically we'll see people taking 4 or 5 or 6 hours, and we'll broadcast that with commentary. And really the goal is just to show off kind of the breadth of material on the Super Nintendo. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, going through the list somewhat chronologically. And yeah, it's interesting. Most of the games that you're going to see, well, you'll start to see about where we are in the chronological release order once we get going here. But this game list was put together by myself and Ariel, who's going to be our player today. He's just getting ready to get started here. I'll give him the signal in just a moment once I'm done with the introductions here. And Ariel's going to be demonstrating each of these games for us. But we tried to put together some variety, get a couple of different genres in there, and also pick out some games that are kind of popular, that are iconic, games that you would think about when you were, thinking back to Super Nintendo games from the mid-90s. What would you expect to see? And we tried to throw in some other games in there that are really interesting or unique speedruns that you might not have played, but you'll probably appreciate once you have. And in just a moment, we'll get going. I will say before we get started, if you haven't signed up yet, you don't have to sign up for this race. You can just show up in our Discord on the day of the race and race. We're going to be using racetime.gg for this, as opposed to, we're using SRL last time around, but we'll use racetime this time. But if you haven't used that before, no problem. It's pretty easy to set up, and you can, if you need some help, just join us in our Discord and we'll get you set up with that. If you see, there's that Super 16 link that people have been posting in the chat there. And, actually, it hasn't been posted in a while. I'll do that. And you'll see there's a link to our webpage there where you can sign up and you can get links to the Discord. And there will be, as soon as this broadcast is over, a list of games and goals posted there. And we're still getting the exact wording on the end points, like the start and the end points. So we should hope to have that up within the next day, like the exact point that you want to stop your timing. But I will explain that in general, the way this works is you can play on an emulator or a flash cart or actual original cartridges if you can manage to find them all. And we do 45 seconds of downtime in between each game. So when you're making your splits, make a 45-second split in between each game. And that's just done because people who have to swap cartridges or need to go into menus might be at a disadvantage over people who are on emulator and they can just use one button to switch games and such. And it gives you some time to set your controls or do whatever you need to do for each game. As a general rule, we're playing everything on the default difficulty level, so whatever the difficulty would be when you boot the game up, that's what we're sticking to. You are allowed to change your controls, that's fine. For any game where you can adjust the number of lives or adjust the number of continues, you are allowed to increase your lives or your continues. Our goal with this is to make sure that we are giving people the ability to keep moving forward, so you're not going to get brick walled and get stuck and have to game over and start again at the beginning. I feel like dying and continuing is enough of a time penalty already that we don't need to also add frustration to the mix. So if the game has the ability to add lives or continues, you can do that. And I don't know, I think a handful of these games have codes where you can give yourself extra lives or continues, and we'll generally allow those codes, but check back at the rule list later today, and we should have some specifics about exactly what the codes are and how to use them. But in general, we let people use codes to get more lives and continues. And if you game over and the game has a way to level select or to use a password or something like that to get back to the place where you were when you died, the level that you died at, we typically allow that as well. The idea is to keep progression moving forward. But in general, all glitches are allowed unless we find a reason to ban a particular glitch. There are some games where we'll mention can't use certain glitches. And that usually takes some fine-tuning, so keep your eye on the discussion in our Discord channel to see how, to see the rulings that we come up with about glitches. But in general, we allow glitches, and in general, we do not allow like cheat codes or anything like that, unless we say specifically, you can use this code to give yourself extra lives or whatever, unless we say specifically. But the full rules we posted at speedgaming.org/super16, along with the game list as soon as this broadcast is over. So I'm just going to check with our runner to make sure he's ready to go. And again, I do want to thank Ariel for helping put together this game list. Couldn't have done it without him. It was very, very great work. And I want to thank our testers. We had Palmy and Kuchiri helping with the testing of these goals, so that was great too. So, okay, yep, looks like he's ready. And I'm going to unmute this and hopefully not blast everyone's ears out. And then we'll get moving. Let me know if the volume balance is really bad. That's right, here we are, our first game. Have you guessed it yet? This music's banging. Alright, there we go. Super Bomberman 2. Again, let me know if the balance is good. Yeah, so this is a fun game. I think we had another Super Bomberman. I think we had Super Bomberman 1 in an earlier race, but yeah, this is a fantastic game. I remember there was a lot of in Super Bomberman 1 there was a lot of manipulation that could be done so that the drops weren't random. I guess we'll have to see how the discussion about that goes. Again, join us in the Discord. You can get linked to that Discord from our website there. If you want to talk strategy with the other players. But yeah, Bomberman, using bombs, you can upgrade your bombs and the flames get bigger, and you can get other things that let you remote detonate the bombs, or or have multiple bombs which chain against each other. A lot of strategy in this, and there's some boss fights and stuff, but we're going to do World 3, beating World 3. For any of these goals, if we say the name of a level, the name of a world, it means you have to beat everything up to and including that world. So we have to beat worlds 1, 2, and 3 on this. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a pretty fun one. We see on some of our non-English language channels, they've actually had a couple of tournaments of various Super Bomberman games, so I know there is a community out there for these games. But pretty easy to pick up in general. I mean, anyone should just be able to sit down and play this, even if you haven't learned the speedrun strats, so it's pretty neat. Yeah, fun music. It's good. Is this Hudson Soft or Sunsoft? I can't remember. It's something soft. I can't remember the maker of this game. Hudson. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember like on the NES I had I got Adventure Island and Original Bomberman at the same time. I was like, all right, this is my favorite game developer now. But yeah, I think this game's aged pretty well. I think everyone should enjoy this. Ooh, I bet we'll be seeing a switch to the next game. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. This broadcast brought to you by Sparkling Water. For the Switch. All right, what's next? Data East. Oh, it's already looking good. I actually can't remember the order. I don't remember what the next game is. Oh, okay. It's Jurassic Park. Wait a minute. We didn't do Jurassic Park, did we? Oh, okay. All right. It's Joe and Mac 2. Caveman ninjas lost in the tropics. So this is a fun game. It's a platformer game. There's a bit of a choice as far as what order you do the levels in. The goal for this is going to be to beat the tutorial stage, which you have to do first, and then any 2 stages after that. The structure of this game in general is that you need to get 7 stones, I believe, and you get 1 from the intro, 2 from, I forget, 1 you get from talking to some person, and 1 you get from some other thing, and then 1 from each of the other stages. You don't really have to worry about getting the stones in this. Really, what you just have to do is beat the stages. But as you can see, it's pretty fast-paced platformer that scrolls in 2 directions. Oh, that's great. Definitely the time for that. Alright, there we go. Cool. So that level went by quicker than I thought. So yeah, you can have some choice here as far as what stages you're going to play. After you've played the tutorial, there's going to be 4 huts that take you to different worlds, and then you can kind of decide which worlds you think will be the fastest ones for you to do. There's not... I think one of the stages is considerably faster than the others, but other than that, I expect to see a little bit of variety as far as which stages people choose. They're all approximately the same length, at least if you look at the world record runs. I'm expecting, though, that maybe just due to the difficulty and the fact that not everyone is, you know, a world record caliber player at this game, you might not see people using the same strats that you see the top speedruns use, or maybe not choosing the same levels. So I'm interested to see if people pick different levels or the same ones. But yeah, there's a bunch of good runs of this if you want to get strats. I'd say for any of these games, best bet is just to go to speedrun.com and just look the game up and see what people are doing. But generally we find that people like to make tutorials for these games, either people who are learning this for Super 16 or sometimes the top runners themselves. If you happen to know any of the top runners of one of the games on this list and you want to just mention to them that, hey, we are doing this in Super 16, a lot of runners like to make tutorials. Generally, after putting a lot of time and effort into a game, one likes to share one's knowledge, and you often find that people want to make tutorials for this. So we might see some tutorials for various games here, but I think this one should be pretty straightforward to learn just by watching the run. Good music in this game too. Joe Mac 3, yeah, because Congo's Caper, right? That was Joe Mac 2, but here we had a different numbering on them, so this is actually Joe Mac 3 Japanese or 2 English. So yeah, in general, we're going to ask people to play on the U version of the cart of the game. In the past, we've done you can do either U or J, but I think in all of these, I think this time around, there's not a strong reason to allow other versions of it. So I think we're going to stick with U version for all these, unless something comes up where we think that it would be, you know, to the advantage of the race if we were to switch over to J. So again, keep track of what's going on. Oh, given away on the next one already. Don't look at your screen. But the next game is one that you might have been expecting. We did Street Fighter last time around. And this time, it's Mortal Kombat 2. So the goal for this is very short. I think if you really you know, if you play with optimal strats, this should be doable in like 3 minutes or something like that. This may be the shortest game for some people, but this game can also be just deceptively hard. I mean, the goal is to beat 3 opponents.
Round 1, fight.
And really, kind of anything goes. Yeah, this is what it would look like if it was me playing. Yeah, I'm terrible at this game, but...
Baraka wins.
Yeah.
Round 2.
But that's alright, these are each best of 3, no problem. And we're playing at the default difficulty level.
Superb.
I know the AI changes quite a bit if you play on other difficulty levels, and that really changes the strats. So we wanted to make sure that people were playing at approximately the same, or at the same level, so we had, you know, the same availability of strats to everyone. Yeah, so this is what it looks like when I play Mortal Kombat 2 as well. But yeah, this was... Sometimes it's tricky to use a fighting game in a speedrun context, but this game was just so popular. Other than... This is like the 3rd most popular fighting game for the Super Nintendo. I think Mortal Kombat 2 was only exceeded by Killer Instinct and Street Fighter 2 as far as just total number of units sold, but... this game came out on a lot of different platforms as well, so people have all kinds of different opinions of it, but I think it varies quite a bit depending on which platform you played it on. But yeah, I very much recommend looking up a moves list. If you just try to use, you know, single button moves, you'll be at a big disadvantage. This one may be tricky for some of the blind players, but if you, at the very least, even if you don't want to practice a bunch of speedrun strats, at the very least, like, pick a character and look up some moves. Baraka wins. I like how everything starts with a K. Credits. And shout-outs to Ariel for playing these. That's really putting himself in the hot seat here, and I really appreciate that. It's by Ocean. You know it's good. Oh my gosh, you know it's good if it's by Ocean. What is it going to be? Okay, some Mode 7. Mr. Nuts. So this is a game that's got only one speedrun on the leaderboard, and you can guess who the speedrun is by. If you've watched our SNES Superstars marathon, you've certainly seen this game. And yeah, we were initially a little skeptical putting this game in just because it has like no footprint whatsoever. Like, you can't, very few runs. It's, you know, not a widely known game, but it's just really charming, and it's a lot of fun. And you know, our testers who played it seemed to really like it, and you know, this was a game that we looked at way back when we were doing SpeedGaming League, and I really enjoyed playing it. And I just think this is I think people are really going to like this game. Fred, how do you know there's no Mega Man Soccer? What would make you think that? But yeah, so maybe La Hulk will have some competition after this is over. We often see that after a game has been in the Super 16, people start to pick it up, and we see a community develop for a game just because it got, you know, used for this purpose. So hopefully we'll see that here. I feel like this game deserves a lot more attention than it's had. But definitely this trend of these, you know, mascot-based platformers with, you know, cute graphics was a huge trend among Super Nintendo games. So I do feel like this is pretty representative of the SNES. Oh, I should mention there is a sign-up link if you go to speedgaming.org/super16, and you can sign up. And you're not required to sign up, but it is. We will be able to see the list of all the people who have signed up, and anyone can see who has signed up and see their Twitch streams. So that if people want to follow the people who are practicing for this, they can find your stream there. So that's the advantage to signing up, just so people can find your stream and tell that you're practicing for it and cheer you on. But, if you don't sign up or if you wait till the day of the race to sign up, that's fine. It's not required, but we do find that people like to put their socials up there just so that people can follow you. And the goal for this is to beat Adventure Park. So this is going to be kind of one of the shorter goals. I think the world record does this in about 6 minutes-ish. Probably it'll take us a little bit longer than that. The average run length for this is about 11.5 minutes. The average run length for among all the games. And here we go. We're on to the next game already. Tetris 2. Well, I wasn't expecting the 2. It's Tetris 2. So this game is very much... this is our puzzle game for the list here. This game kind of reminds me a lot of Dr. Mario in that you're trying to clear junk. It's not about line clearing, it's about making melds to clear junk. And yeah, this game came out on a couple different systems. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Different from the usual kind of Tetris game. But I think people like this. And you have to clear 10 rounds. 10 round clear. Round clear. See, it's that easy. Do that 9 more times and you're done. So this should be a relatively short goal. I think we're expecting the top finishers to be maybe just under 6 minutes on this. But yeah, I like games that you can practice for, where practice involves actually just playing the game a bunch and not necessarily learning specific strats, where it's just kind of developing an intuition for a game, which you'll often see with puzzle games of this style. And it's pretty accessible, and it starts out with a relatively small amount of screen chunk. What do you think so far? Good list? I hope it is. We deliberated for quite a while trying to come up with it. There was a lot of tough choices to be made here. I would say if we had it to do over again, it would be different every time we did it, just because the choices were such close calls. Yeah, hey, Hulk, welcome. Yeah, Mr. Nuts. Maybe you'll have someone joining you on that leaderboard soon. We'll see. We'll see. It's hard to go wrong. You'll see that we're kind of around like mid 1994, with the games that we're drawing from at this point, we're really in the sweet spot now for Super Nintendo games. If you look at the chronological order of release, some of the early games were really good, but when it hit kind of the middle of its life cycle, mid to late life cycle, like the games just started getting like excellent. I think the sparkling ones kill other things of that color. He's got it. Oh, that one won't do. Oh, that one doesn't help either. Nope. Oh no. Got it. Okay, what's next? Licensed by Nintendo, okay. Accolade. With personality. Do you have it yet? Hey. It's Bubsy 2. What was I saying about cutesy mascot-based platformers?
Remember, I am a trained professional.
Wow, the chat really started moving when this game came up. I'm going to assume they're all positive opinions. The Great Equalizer. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's a fast game. You're toast. Look at that. It's unplayable. Yeah, that's the thing about giant, like really large sprites on the Super Nintendo on a fast-moving game is you don't get a lot of space to see what's ahead of you. So definitely some memorization is going to be in order here. And as you can see, this game does not look easy. So yeah, but there we go. We're putting it kind of towards the middle here, so you at least get to play a few games before you quit the race. No, I'm just kidding. You'll get through this. Give it a little practice. It'll be easier. Everything is easier with a little bit of practice. You'll be fine. I believe this one has a code for continues or for lives or something like that. I think this was one. And like I said, we're generally allowing people to use codes that give you more lives or more continues, or that let you return to the place where you game overed. Just because we don't want people to be sent back to the start. I don't have my spreadsheet open, so I don't remember what specifically it is for this, but yeah, there are mitigating factors that'll make some of these games a little more forgiving. Look at that classic Looney Tunes umbrella fall. Okay, well clearly that's all that Ariel can take, so we're moving on to something else. Man, these pre-screens just give away the game right away, don't they? Interplay, a lot of good SNES games from that company. Yeah, so this is one that you may not have... There we go, Claymates. This is one that you may not have played before. This is... I know I somehow missed this during my childhood, and I was only introduced to it later on once I joined the speedrun world. But I think you're going to find this pretty enjoyable. This is a neat little speedrun game. Various characters that you can change into that have different movement properties. This mouse is fast. Another fast-moving game. Comical Looney Tunes type music. Good job. Basically Sonic. Well, you do hit a plunger at the end of the level. Or at the midpoint, I guess. Kid Chameleon Yeah, a little bit, right? The mouse with its aggressive squeak, I suppose. It's intimidating squeak. Play balls only. Yeah, it's got these neat little like puzzly overworld Adventures of Lolo kind of sections. I thought that's a cool little interstitial scene there. And we're speeding World 1 with no warps. That's the goal here. Accidentally warp without knowing it. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We might need to give people a warning, or at least for the people playing blind, just to let them know what not to do if we are concerned that some accidental warping might happen. Yeah, this is from The Lion King. That's exactly what I was thinking. Sounds very much like that. All right, next game. Nintendo. All right, good start. Good start. 94. Good start. Hey, there it is. Someone mentioned this earlier when we were guessing what could be on the list, but we have a game called Stunt Race Fx. So this will be fun. And we tested this out on SD2 SNES. Hopefully it works on other flash carts. We have in the past had people use a flash cart for some games and emulator for other games. You do have 45 seconds in between each game transition. So if you do need to play on different media, then that's fine. There should be enough time to switch between them. But yeah, this is an interesting game. Probably the most oddball of the ones that we have here. Yeah. But the goal here is to beat novice class. Star Fox, yeah, it does. It definitely gives me Star Fox vibes. Especially seeing this flashing like that thing you just picked up. It does remind me a lot of Star Fox. Yeah, I find that looking at 3D games sometimes gets me a little nauseous if I'm not the one playing it, but usually if I am playing it, it's okay. Or if I just make the screen really small. Yeah, I think it's cool how there's no suspension on the truck. There's just 4 wheels and the body of it floating in the middle of them. I guess there's that little triangle underneath that's supposed to be the casing for the drivetrain or something, but it does look kind of neat, the wheels moving somewhat independently of the body. You don't need any music slowing you down. Oh no, it's there. It's just really quiet. I didn't even notice that. Goal! I love how the goal comes flying at your face. I think people will like this game. This is pretty playable. But that's the first half of the list. Stunt Race sitting right here in the middle. What does the back half look like? I'm sure there are some games that people have guessed will appear in this race. Maybe some very, very good games. Maybe some very well-known games. It's got to be somewhere in the next 8. Uh-oh. I wish we could do this race 3 days later than May 1st. But that would be the middle of the week. And we have Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi. This game is based on, I think it's based on a movie, I want to say. I don't see a lot of movies, so I'm kind of out of the loop on this. Gotta love that music. Yeah, so quite a variety of gameplay in these, in the Super Star Wars games in general. You got some like racing type stuff. You got some platforming. Tutorials for the games. Well, probably not for all of them, but typically people will make tutorials for a good amount of them. Like many people who participate in the race, as they learn, will make tutorials and share them. We have a channel in our Discord called Super 16 Resources. You can get a link to our Discord from speedgaming.org/super16, which I'm linking there in the chat as well. And once you get into our Discord server, we have a channel for Super 16 Resources, and you can post any tips that you want, any tutorials. It could be video tutorials, it could be written tutorials. You can just make a paste bin with tips for players. Anything you want to post, go ahead and post them in there. And we'll try to keep an organized list of it so that you can find those things when you're looking for them. And like I said before, if you know anyone who runs any of these games and you think might be willing to make a tutorial, you're certainly encouraged to ask them, because a lot of people really do like to share their knowledge once they know that there's going to be a lot of people who benefit from it. So feel free to reach out to people. And the goal here is to beat Java. And we're playing on the default difficulty level. I forget what they call it, but it's kind of tricky. I think this may be one of the harder games for people to get through on this list here. Yeah, for most of these games, some of these games have the goal is a little odd compared to a full game run, but for most of these, you should be able to just watch, some of the top runs on the leaderboard and just copy the strats you see there. Here we go. We've got a side-scrolling section, and these are really tricky. These are tricky. I don't know why we picked this game. It's so hard. No, we picked it because these are very, very good games. This whole series. We did the first Super Star Wars a while back. And there were actually, I think, 2 Super Star Wars games released the same year. I think Empire and then Jedi were both released the same year. And so you can see we skipped over Empire just because we were, trying to stay somewhat in order. But maybe someday in the future, Super 16, you'll see Empire pop back up again. We just collected R2. Okay, what's next? What's next? Alright, so far so good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, man. It's Super Punch-Out. The goal for this is going to be to beat the minor and major leagues. Or circuits, I guess they're called.
Gabby J!
Yeah, we couldn't not do this game. This is obligatory. So this is one that I think anyone who figured out the chronologicalness of this would have probably predicted that this game would end up in it. But yeah, if you're just an all-around SNES player, you're probably going to want to pick this game up at some point, aren't you? Yeah, we'll discuss which... Like, in general, we do allow glitches unless the glitch is so game-breaking that it kind of, you know, ruins the goal entirely. I can't recall. I don't think anything stood out as being so... Well, there's one game coming up that does have some glitches that we probably will have to explicitly ban, but I think the ones we've seen so far, there wasn't anything that jumped out at us as needing to ban it, but do pay attention to the discussion in our Discord. And we will keep the, speedgaming.org/super16, we'll keep that official list updated with rules as far as what is or isn't allowed. And we'll make announcements in the Discord if anything changes. Yeah, and these are all real-time strats, not in-game time strats. So even though some of these games do have in-game timers, we are interested in real-time only. Yep, that's true. No one has to do glitches, and often, I mean, like I said, we'll ban anything that's so game breaking that it completely ruins the goal. So you're not, even if you don't want to learn any glitches, you should still be able to, you know, just through skill, be able to keep up with the other players pretty well. Boom.
1, 2, 3, fight!
And that's it. That's all he can take. He's going back to his corner for a water break. Put some ice on the neck. Hey, there we go. Look at that dab. Oh my god, look at the flex. This guy was dabbing way back in the 90s. Here we go. We put this late in the list so that people would be able to get through most of the games before they ripped their controllers out and left. It's Earthworm Gym. I don't know. I like this game. I think it's just got a certain kind of goofy charm to it. So yeah, this will take some practice. Put some time in on this game. Gotta love an attack where you pull your own head off and whip things with it. Cow launched. Damage boost like crazy. That's what I love, a game with good damage boosting. Blasted that bird. This thing looked like the birds from Battletoads. Cow launched. Check that one off your bucket list. Let me check on that. We may have to... I think, if I remember correctly, I think the list that's on our website is going to be more specific than just the ones that I could cram onto this layout. There's the jerk bird emote in chat. There you go. Yeah, if anything needs clarification, again, just join the Discord and you can ask in there. There's only 2 of us putting this together with some assistance, but you know, it's pretty easy with just 2 people making the list to make some assumptions that we shouldn't make and leave things unclear. So if anything's unclear, we're happy to clarify that as we go. It's a good death scene. Discord. Yeah, if you... Sorry, should have put the Discord link in the actual bot command, but if you go to that link, there should be a link to the Discord that takes you there. Okay, next game. It's a Disney game. This is one that I'm sure that people would have guessed, and it's a Capcom game and a Disney game, so that's how you know it's going to be an excellent platformer. Oh, I just spoiled it by dragging that down, didn't I? But you already know. Chat already knows. Yeah, this series of games is just fantastic. Anytime you see a Capcom Disney game, you know it's going to be good. So this is one we had to put in here because it's just too good not to. And it's got a lot of speedrun attention. I think there's like a dozen runs of it or something at least. So this is one where you get to play on easy difficulty. Most of these games are you're playing on the default difficulty level, so whatever difficulty comes up initially. But for this game, you can switch it to easy mode. And unlike some of these cartoony games that we had earlier, this one is not insanely fast-paced. Co-op for Super 16. Well, we haven't... I can tell you for sure we don't have co-op goals in this particular race, but that might be an interesting one to try sometime if we were confident in the multiplayer ability of emulators. A bit of a breather. Well, I mean, it's not. It should be. I mean, it should be relatively easy compared to some of the other platformers, but yeah, this will be a bit of a rest before the games that are going to come next. You will need to be well rested up to do the last couple of games on this list. But yeah, anyway, this series of games, Magical Quest and such, are pretty enjoyable. And one of the neat things about this is you get different, I guess you can call them suits, but, you know, different upgrades to your abilities. So it adds some variety to the gameplay. I wish when I vacuumed something up, it would just poop out a coin. That would be pretty handy. Instead of my vacuum exploding because a cat toy gets stuck in it. And that's it. That's all the rest of it will remain a mystery, I guess, because we're moving on to the next game. Here we go. Listen to that badass music. From the Marvel Game-O-Matic universe, we have Maximum Carnage. Spiderman and Venom, Maximum Carnage. This game, I think, will be pretty polarizing. I mean, to begin with, not everyone is a real beat-em-up person, but this is going to be a tricky one. Now, by default, you get one continue, I think, and that's not going to be enough for people to beat this. So what you're going to want to do is look up the codes for this, because there is a a button code that will get you... there's a button code that gets you 5 lives, and there's also a button code that gives you 5 continues. I don't know if you can use them both together, but you can use either one of those. Take 5 lives or take 5 continues. So it'll be 5 lives per continue, or 5 continues with, I think, like 1 or 2 lives per continue. I forget how much it is. Just don't soft lock. Yeah, if anyone has any specifics that they want to share in our resources channel, tips to give people on how not to soft lock and how to avoid things like that, certainly feel free to write that up. We will try to collect all that information so people can find it easily. Also want to point out that you can climb in this. I forget what the combination is. It's like up and X or something like that. But people who are new to the game, people playing it blind, might not know that you can climb. So that would probably be something, even if you don't plan to watch any speedruns and learn any strats for this, you should know at least that climbing is possible. Yeah, Kuchuri was one of our testers, and definitely pointed out the difficulty of this game. And this is going to be a rather long goal, beating Fantastic Four Lab. But yeah, the Super Nintendo was a console that was known for having a lot of beat-em-ups. The beat-em-up genre really bloomed in the mid-90s, so this is a rather overrepresented genre on the Super Nintendo. Most of them terrible, but this game I think is pretty good. We did do Final Fight in one of these races. Yeah, there's a couple of Marvel games for Super Nintendo. I love those Pak, Chang. I like the visual sound effects. Speed Tech. We got a thwack. I like Kachak. I'm gonna have to use that one. Classic Spiderman villains. Yep. Fighting accuracy. Alright, what do we have next? He survived, I know, right? Good going. Yeah, it's not an easy game, so... Uh-oh. What is this spooky game? Come on, you knew this had to be in the list. You knew it. Metroid 3? It's Super Metroid. So yeah, this is a game that needs no introduction. The goal for this game is going to be to beat any 2 main bosses. So that would be Kraid, Ridley, Phantoon, and Dragon. So pick 2. I have a feeling we'll see a couple of different possibilities. We discussed this. This probably more than any other game on our list took a lot of discussion. There's a dash button, don't worry. Took a lot of discussion about how we wanted to make this goal work, because there is an enormous skill disparity among players, and the things that you can do with different skill levels completely change the route. So you know, if you can CWJ, you can go into wreck ship early. But there's all kinds of other ways. If you're really good at bomb jumping, you can do it. Maybe you fight Crocomire, get the grapple beam. You know, maybe you do what I'm told is an easy short charge to get over that moat. A lot of different things which you could do here. And yeah, beat two main bosses. One thing that you will notice here is that Ariel started out on Zebby's, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to start on Zebby's. You don't have to do the Ceres Station Escape, so you can make a save file, so, you know, play through Ceres and, you know, save it right there on your ship when you get to Zebby's, and you can start your run from there. So we don't need to do the Ceres Escape. This is going to be one of the longer ones. This will be one of the longer goals in this list, because this is not only, you know, relatively long in time-wise. I think the amount of practice that it takes to be able to play this game at a high level is pretty large compared to most of the other games here. One of the reasons why this game is still so popular among speedrunners is that just the movement tech is, you know, it's got so many levels to it. It's a pretty deep game, so there's a lot to learn. I imagine people might learn, I don't know, like learning mock ball is pretty easy. A lot of little uses for that. That's probably the easier one. And then short charging, at least that which would be useful in this run, is another thing that I think is within people's reach. You have 2 months to prepare for this. So. If you don't know what to do, you can always just dance. Samus has a lot of dance moves. But yeah, pick 2 bosses, whichever ones you want. Of the main bosses, of the main 4. What's next? What's it going to be? Yes, of course. Illusion of Gaia. This is a great game. We had to save this to the end. First of all, because it's kind of longish, the goal. But yeah, this is a real winner. If you've never played this game, this is definitely one that you want on your list. Time to bop La Hulk. Oh my gosh. We're talking chat right now. Yeah, you put the longer longer goals at the end. Yeah, for this list, if you total up how long it takes the world record run of each of these games to do, or you know, our approximation of it in some cases with the odd goals, based on world record pace, this should be doable in just under 3 hours. But of course, the average player is not going to be, or I think even probably the top players are not going to get under 3 hours in this. But we'll see. We say that every time, and then someone manages to surprise us. But we'll see. But yeah, you should plan for, I'd say plan for a good, like, 5 hours or so, 5 or 6 hours to do all these if you're not gonna be, you know, learning world record strats on everything. So definitely make a day of this. Yeah, Claymate's first time. I hadn't seen that much either. I like a while ago when I was testing games for a different purpose, was the first time I ever came across Claymates. So there's a bunch of things on this list that I hope will be new to people in a good way. What is the final game? It's one that you might guess. It's not. It's something pretty well known. I mean, it's a game that's not going to surprise anyone once you see it. But uh-oh, where do you go next? But yeah, anyone who hasn't played Illusion of Gaia, you're definitely going to like this. So there's a statue. Go get it. And here we go. That's all you get. That's all you get. Oh, it's a Konami game. I love that sound. Final game is a full game. You're going to beat the entire game for this. Full game. See, I told you you'd know this. This should be no surprise that this made it in here. If you're paying attention to the chronology, one could not pass up this game. On hard. No, it won't be. This one's going to be on easy. It's Sparkster. It's on easy. Any percent. Full game on easy. Level easy. Digest. Like if you just ate a meal, you don't want to upset your stomach by playing on too difficult a mode, so that makes sense. And this can be a fast-moving game, as you can see by the bitrate there. But yeah, you're charging up these dashes. A lot of strategy to that. Once you know what you're doing, this game goes by pretty quick. the butt bounce. Side-scrolling mascot mayhem. Fighting a lot of robots and spaceships. Rocket Knight. Yeah, Rocket Knight Adventures. I played that before I played this. Mascot mayhem. We could have done just all mascot games. Yeah, I like how you ricochet off stuff when you do your sword dash. And the way you kind of panic when your dash runs out. Oh, a princess being snatched away. Sure. Survived. Stage clear. So yeah, again, like I said, doing the full game on easy. We like to end with the full game so that you can watch the credits scroll on something at the end of the race. Alright, Ariel says let's keep playing this while we do our outro here. So that's the list. Super 16 number 5. It's finally here. High demand for this one. I was surprised. But I'm glad everyone's so into it. I think this will be really fun. You got basically the majority of 2 months to work on this, so plenty of time to learn some strats. May 1st, that's going to be a Saturday. It's going to start at noon Eastern Time or 6 p.m. Central European Time. You can watch it right here on this channel, twitch.tv/SpeedGaming. And our partner channel, Speedrun Hype TV, will also be showing members of this race as well. Put the link again in the chat. So there we go, speedgaming.org/super16. As soon as I'm done with this broadcast, I'll post the full game list up there. If you want, you can just screenshot it right now just so you have it in case I'm kind of slow getting that posted. But the game will be up there, the games will be up there, the goals will be up there. And as we start to clarify the endpoints, you know, we like to be pretty specific. You know, after defeating blah blah blah, wait for the fade out, or wait for stage clear to appear, things like that. We want to be pretty exact about when people switch to the next game. That stuff will be posted, as well as a list of what codes that you can use. But again, like I said before, generally any code that gives you more lives or more continues, we let you use. And anything that lets you return to, like, to level select or to return to a place where you game overed, you're allowed to use, you know, to get to any place that you've, you know, already reached, just so you're not stuck, you know, starting the game all over again. And by default, we're using just the default difficulty level for most of these games, unless we say otherwise. So I think Great Circus Mystery and Sparkster were the two games where we're using easy difficulty instead of the default one. And use the U version of these ROMs. What else? And then 45 seconds between each game. So after the game's over, after you've beaten the goal, put an extra split on your splits for 45 seconds after each game, just to be sure that you're, you know, counting the time correctly. And during that time, you can switch games and set your controls or do whatever you need to do. Should put people on even footing. You can use emulator, you can use a flash cart, you can use actual original cartridges, whatever you prefer, or some mixture of those. I don't remember if this has unlimited continues. Yeah, what do you think? Okay, I was curious, what do you think are going to be the tough ones here? I'm curious what people think are going to take the most practice or to be the most unforgiving. Super Metroid and Star Wars. The Super Metroid goal is pretty substantial. I do think that is going to be a lot for some people, but Super Metroid is a game that once you've learned it, there's plenty of opportunities to race it against other people. But, you know, once you've learned some portion of it at least, that's at least enough to get you into the game in case you want to pick it up for racing or joining tournaments or whatever. So hopefully it's a skill that won't go to waste after this is over. Going fast in Super Metroid. Yeah. That's a hard one, yeah. Bubsy 2. Yeah, that one certainly is going to be a challenge for people. But I believe that's one of the ones where there's a code that gives you more continues, I think. And yeah, if anyone knows any of these games really well and wants to make a tutorial of them to help people learn the goal, that's very much going to be appreciated. Even if you want to just write up a paste bin with tips and tricks, that's useful. Star Wars, yep, that's generally known, I think especially that third one, I think, is generally known for being a pretty tough game. Right, Metroid does saves, so that helps. Alright, well that's it. That's the list. I'll go get the page updated, and don't forget to sign up if you'd like. But again, you don't have to sign up. You can just show up the day of the race and do it. But signing up does put your name on the list where people can see, so people can go to our site and see the list of all the people who are playing in it, so that they know who to watch as they practice. So that's a good way to get some exposure for your stream if you like. Yeah, cool. Fun times. Thank you very much, Ariel, for helping with the construction of this list and for demoing these games for us today. And that's it. Goodbye, everybody. Have fun practicing.